What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Blind Power. Today is a live video. Hopefully some of you can join. Hopefully, if not, you'll see this afterwards. This has no editing. This is full on live. So today I want to talk about building a computer as a visually impaired person. So I have here all these wires which go to the power supply, okay? First thing, number one. All these wires contain things that we need to connect to the CPU, the graphics card, and stuff like that, right? And now you might be asking, well, I'm visually impaired. How does a graphics card really matter? It matters in response performance in games so that you don't lose and stuff. It is crucial, but it depends on how good your site is. You may not need that good of a graphics card. And whoa, we got one viewer, I see. All right. Much appreciated. So, I can't see who's the viewer, but that's all right. So, I'm trying to not keep this as shaky as possible. So, as a blind vision impaired person, the difficulties of building a computer is not labeling things. So, here, for example, I have to actually go with the magnifier like I am right now with the camera, and I see that there's 6 pins. You can't feel them at all unless you ask for like adult supervision to like read them to you if you're a kid, so that you don't blow your house up if you're an adult. I don't know, find somebody to read it for you. I guess. So 8-pin adapter, 6+2 connector, and it's hard because yeah, if you live at home with your parents, you could just be like, hey, can you help me with this? And most likely they will, or they'll just be intimidated by the wiring. But it's hard to figure out sometimes. Like, see, like these sometimes are labeled. This is very, like, that one was labeled. Let me see. See, like, sometimes this isn't. See, like, this isn't labeled, right? Like, what I don't understand is then why you go in here, that says PCIe, but they're not all labeled, and that's kind of a problem because as a visually impaired blind person, you're like, oh, what is this? You don't really know. Now, I bet if I came to look at this isn't even labeled, I know this is for SATA, but if I weren't to know, like, there's one here I had to look up on the internet because I didn't know what the hell it was. Where is it? Oh, my back. Here. Now, where the hell did it go? God damn it. It's the big oddball, the fat one. Here it is. I was like, what is this? This is a 24-pin. And instead of having to figure out, oh, it's 24 of these, it's a 24, it's a 20 plus 4 or something like that. I'm like, why do you need this? And it turns out you don't need this big oddball wire. But you know what? It looks like a snake. It's there because you need it, And then modular power supplies are actually good for if you're visually impaired because it comes with all the wiring already and you don't have to plug everything in. It's just when you want to upgrade it, you hide unnecessary wires. You hide them behind your wire organizing area. So I guess there's a name for that, but I can't remember right now. But there's a place where you can actually hide your wires behind the case in here, wire management, and you can just when you need it, you just pull it out and that's it. You just bring it, and that's the best thing for visually impairment. In my opinion, modular means that you have to plug everything in, but if you have too much crap in here, then you're gonna have to remove whatever's in front of this. So if I have something like this, I have to remove it so that I could see where to plug things into the power supply. And it's usually a little longer, so that power supply would usually kind of dig into this air slot right here, and it would be a little more bigger. And that was my fear. But no, it's fine. And then as a visually impaired person, wire management is important because you could feel where things are. So, for example, here I have Molex connector, and I know now, that whatever comes from this corner that's connected to my fans, I know it can have one more, it can have two more connections because it's got one here, and then it's got at the end of this chain, it's got another end that can support that. So it's kind of cool, right? You're like, oh, okay, it makes sense. But then you start going through and you're like, so what's this? And I don't know what this is. I believe that's like a weird Molex connection. I don't know. You realize this is like a 1, 2, 3, 4 pin Molex, and then you're like, okay, you can't feel them, the Molexes. So I mean, you barely can, but you don't want to do that if you have your PC powered on, So you want to try to be safe with everything because it's a lot of voltage and current going through. But you want to know where all your wires are sitting at. That's kind of what we go to. Oh, this live stream's going well. I didn't expect this. I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Got 2 people watching. That's not bad for the growth of the channel. Now, what are the specs on this computer, you might be asking? It's going to be a quad-core i7 8700K Intel 8th generation processor with an Asus Z370 motherboard, 32 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RGB RAM, 3 fans that are RGB by Corsair as well, so that it can go in unison with the RAM, and an oddball aftermarket RGB strip that goes on the top. The reason why I say oddball, because it's not really a known brand. It's more of an aftermarket brand. But, that's expected as it's, I guess, cheaper. I could order one from Corsair. Though what I do want to try to do eventually is replace these 2 blue fans in here. I gotta figure out if I could replace these with the Corsair ones. But I don't know. I might do that. I might not. Actually, I'm not gonna do that because I do like the aesthetics of the blue fans in the front. But I don't know. I gotta figure that out. But this case can fit 5 fans in total. That it'll fit. You got 2 here, pre-installed. 2 here on the top can fit in, and then 1 fan can go in here, right? The 2 on the top you can tell because if we remove this lint catcher, right? It's magnetic, so I just kind of placed it here. That's a lint catcher. It catches all the dirt that comes out, that comes in when it breathes in. I could put a pile of dirt on top of this thing, and it's not going to go into the PC. So here you have this thing can have 2 screws side by side for the drive cages for not drive cages for the fan holders, so you can, for the fan screws, so you can have 1 fan sitting like this. So you got screws here, this fits 2, and then there's one here. So you can fit 2 fans on the top, which is very convenient. They do fit well. I'll show you what I mean. So this is a 150. Oh man, this is already getting crowded with cables. Let me turn on the. Oh, you can't do that. So I'm putting my hand in here. And the fan is this big, so I could say 1, 2. Yeah, it's perfect. And this little lip here allows you to hide your fans perfectly, so that all the RGB goes down on the bottom. Now, If you're light sensitive, I would recommend being careful because of the fact that it could hurt your eyes if it's too bright. But if you have if you make everything dimmable, then that's fine. However, screen reader users, do not install an external sound card. That would be stupid. The motherboards come with great sound cards nowadays. No need to installing an external sound card. Now, that doesn't mean that you could use a DAC, digital to audio converter. Now, internal DACs work in unison with your sound card. You can get yourself an internal DAC, if for example with JAWS, it supports it, or if you have a braille display, um, that requires good graphics so that you can get the best tactile pinpoint precision, you can get yourself a GTX graphics card, and then you'll be good to go, right? If as a blind, like totally blind, you can go with like a pretty basic build. You can go for an i7, the same i7 that I have, but you can go for the RAM and everything. The only thing, instead of a GTX 1080, you can go for a 1050, and you get the same performance with a braille display or anything like that. So I see we lost a viewer, but that's all right. So this case has the mounting points. I had to put the little mounting brackets on here when I get the motherboard. Now, the advantage of that versus anything else is the fact that all you have to do essentially is you can mount a micro ATX motherboard, which is a smaller motherboard, and it works very well. As a visually impaired person, micro ATX is harder to work with. Full ATX is better. However, with my years of experience, I'm doing micro ATX. Why and what's the difference? Well, micro ATX basically only uses these points. See, so it's about the size of a paper, right? And then full ATX is the size of a book. Okay, not as thick, but like the size. So those of you who are visually impaired, you can see we got mounting screws here if you wanted to make a full ATX. Now, what's the problem with that? Then you would only have the bottom hole and this hole, and then you have no hole for wire management, basically. Oh, yeah, you do. But it would be like way over here. You'd only have these right here for wire management. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's not bad, but it's not good either. Honestly, you could do better by just getting micro ATX, but you have to have enough experience to go by tactile feeling and be like, oh, and you also get this little thing here for wiring. But I think the best thing to do is use these little mounting points for your graphics card on the top here. So you get some mounting points you can use for your graphics card. Now, if you ask me what's the neatest thing to do for your PC build to be better overall, is try to keep things neat. Because, the sided that are completely, they could just be like, oh, okay, I see the 6 pins, I see the other 2, that's a 6 plus 2, let me plug that in. And then, we can't. We have to memorize where the hell we put things, or just plain straight label them if you're totally blind and braille, or if you're visually impaired, label them in some large print or put a number on them and then have a cheat sheet where okay, this is number 2 is this on notes on your phone or something. But you have to keep everything organized so that you know where things are going. It's just honestly the best way you can do to make everything nice and tidy. Oops, I'm sorry, I got my finger in the way. Now, the things you're gonna run into as a screen reader or as a blind visually impaired user is when you're building a custom PC. Honestly, some things usually complain because they're like, oh yeah, you need AMD or you need Intel. Honestly, Jaws is one of those platforms that they don't care. What they care about is usually your sound card and some basic settings. Now, Windows, if you still use that, Windows is kind of interesting because it's like it doesn't care, but it does work better with AMD. So Zoom Text, though, if you're using Zoom Text, the GTX 1080 graphics card, which is what I'm going to be inserting in here, is going to be, as they say, lit because, well, you'll be able to zoom in with your screen resolution at 4K, and your zoom text will be zoomed in, so everything you'll see will be 1080. It'll be huge. It won't be all blurry and pixelized, and it's going to be nice. So now, if you guys are interested in seeing another part of this, I mean, I could do more parts. I could do part 2 in the middle, inserting the motherboard. I could be more specific, but I want to make sure that there's interest in this video. This is more experimental since I can't upload a video today. You know, and then if I can't tomorrow either, tomorrow I will because I'm working tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow you guys will get your normal scheduled video, but. I just want to figure out like if this works, if this content style, if you like these live videos talking about PC stuff or skate stuff when I go to the skate park. I want to experiment with live video to see, because that's an easy way to get content to you guys. You know, and I usually upload at 5 and it's 5:59. I started like 10 minutes. At the time I started 17 minutes ago, so I started like a little bit before. A little bit after my upload time, purposefully. You know, I really do hope, you know, that you guys do enjoy this type quality of content, because it's something that could be done, you know. Now, if you have any PC building questions and you're blind, visually impaired, let me know. You know, perhaps I can help you. It's just one of those things where building a PC is fun. It's something that you can do. Now, I do want to open up a blind power forum thing where you can ask questions up in the future. But you know, that'll be asked. That'll be done soon. Blind Power will have a webpage very, 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 very soon. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. It's been interesting showing you guys everything. As a small channel, I know I wasn't expecting to get too much out of the live video, but I know, you know, that we're new, and as a new channel, live videos are at first going to be, you're going to get 1 or 2 people, you know, for 100 and some odd subscribers that we have, almost 120. But, you know, we're doing well, and I appreciate you guys' support. So, see you guys in the next video. Comment, rate, subscribe. You know what to do. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.